Hey everybody, Steve Przebrowski. Welcome to tip number 51 in the series for 101 tips to ace your promotional exam. Halfway through this process, hopefully you're getting some value to the information that I'm sharing, discussing, and hopefully you build upon it and take it to the next level. As a reminder, my website, code3firetrain.com, has lots of great free information on there for you or anybody else. And this series is based on my latest book for fire training books and videos, available off their website as well as mine. Now, in the previous tip, number 50, I talked about having at least 3 strengths to talk about. Those are the easy ones. Now we're going to get into the tough ones. Why? Because none of us want to talk about our weaknesses. I don't enjoy sharing that, that I have weaknesses. I'm human. We're all human beings. We all have egos. It sucks to hear that we have weaknesses, but when you find out a weakness, the benefit is that now at least knowing about it is half the battle. The other half now is working on it. Like my wife tells me, are you losing your hearing listening to all that Metallica or Slayer or Anthrax or Megadeth? What was that, babe? Sorry, I didn't, and she goes, are you losing your hearing, or is it selective hearing because you don't want to hear what I'm yakking about? And I'm like, well, shit, no, I know I can be a better listener. That's one of my weaknesses as well too. But, some of it is selective hearing. I'll be honest about that. She's not here right now to say yes or no, but, I wear earplugs. It's all good. But anyway, have at least 3 personal weaknesses to share and discuss. Now, the voice of experience is, if you've been paying attention to these, I have different folks, friends of mine, mentors of mine around the country of different ranks offering up their words of wisdom to help support my point. And the voice of experience for tip number 51 is my buddy Dan Kerrigan out of Upper Providence, Pennsylvania, the chief up there. He provides some great words of wisdom to build upon this. So again, like in tip number 50, having 3 personal strengths, having a weakness and having to articulate that is a common oral board question, because chances are if they ask you what's your greatest strength or maybe a couple great strengths, the next question is probably going to be, well, that is the easy part. What's your greatest weakness? Now, I've never seen them ask more than 1 weakness, but you never know. That's why I say have at least 3 ready to go. And you go, well, shit, 3, I'm going to look like a loser here if I have more than 1. No, you're going to look like a human being. Now, the question of what's the best weakness, I struggled with this and I still struggle with it to this day, because again, you want to make sure you're not, you got to be honest, you got to be self-deprecating, you have to be able to be bearing your soul, so to speak. You can't be clueless, but you also don't want to have a deal breaker. Now, when I say deal breaker, hear me out here. There is no best weakness, but there's some that are better than others. Let's use an example. Let's say you are on the hiring panel for your fire chief position. Let's say, I'll give you a field promotion. You're the city manager or you're a fire chief of another department, and you're evaluating candidates for that fire department to be the next fire chief, the leader, the top dog or cat, depending on your animal preferences. We're dog people, but that's all good. Let's say I'm the applicant and you're thinking Steve's going to make a good fire chief here. And then you ask me, hey, Steve, what's your greatest weakness? Well, I am an alcoholic, but I'm recovering right now. I'm in the 12-step program. I'm step number 11 right now. And I'm almost there, but I am a recovering alcoholic. Honesty is good, but, and not that they can discriminate against you or they should discriminate against you, probably not the best weakness. Or let's get back to what I shared earlier that I know is a struggle of mine, listening skills. So Steve, as the next fire chief for our organization, what's your greatest weakness? Well, probably not. I'm not a good listener. What was the question again? Can you repeat the question? Yeah, what was your greatest weakness? Can you repeat the question again? Sorry, just joking, having fun here. Listening skills for a fire chief might be a deal breaker, or even worse, well, I'm not really a people person. And you want to be a fire chief? Probably not good answers. So there are some that may be deal breakers. And I think the key is trying to find that weakness that's honest, but more importantly, is not going to shoot yourself in the foot and, eliminate you from the conversation, and that's that's why I say there's some weaknesses that are better than others. And I remember when I was a student at Chabot College 30 some years ago, I struggled with that question because I could never, I'm like, man, I know I got weaknesses, but I don't want to give it away and make it look like I'm a loser. I'm not a good candidate. And it wasn't until I was on the other side of the panel on the oral board, realizing, you know what, there is no bad or good weakness. There are deal breakers, like I mentioned, but have a weakness, more importantly, be able to articulate it, be able to show what you're doing about it. Well, and again, I don't want to give away all the answers, because when I was in the applicant's shoes, I remember getting pissed at my instructors, give me that best weakness. And then I finally had one of my instructors at the college say, okay, if I tell you that the best weakness is, say, time management, there's 30 students in the class. Now all 30 students potentially could use that same weakness. Now they won't all say it the same way, but if they're all testing for the local fire department, it sort of dilutes that weakness and you look like a clone or somebody like everybody else. And you want to stand out in the crowd in a positive way. That's why don't expect to find that magic strength or weakness in a book or from somebody that told you that's the best one to use, because there is none. It's how you articulate it, how you sell it, how you prove that you're working on it, and how you prove that, you know what, it's not going to be a detriment to me if I get the position, because it's something I'm going to be continuously working on. So, and like I shared, make sure you have an improvement plan versus just, I suck at listening skills, because second part of that question usually is not just what's your weakness, but what are you doing to improve upon that weakness? So have that in mind. Just like the previous tip about strengths, if you can't articulate, support, and justify at least 3 weaknesses, again, you'll probably only be asked 1, but have at least 3. How do you expect to be able to demonstrate you're a human being who is aware of their shortcomings and, more importantly, working on their shortcomings? Self-awareness is key, but also doing something about it's another key. So it sucks. And you may go, well, I think I'm weak at this. Hey, you want to really find out what your weaknesses are? Ask your spouse or significant other, ask your kids, ask your parents, ask your coworkers. Now, some may not be that honest or want to be that honest because, the truth hurts sometimes, but thank them. If they're kind enough to be able to say, dude, you suck at listening skills, don't say, well, no, that's bullshit, I suck. What'd you say again? Oh, you suck at listening skills. Or hopefully they deliver the message a little bit nicer than that. But hey, you know what? You could improve your listening skills a little bit. No, I'm good at listening. Okay, you asked them for their advice, and now when they gave you your advice, you just shot them down, saying that you know better than them. You know what? Then you know what? Don't ask me for my advice. So be careful what you ask for, because it may come true. Thank those individuals that are giving you that advice. And if you are a supervisor, you should already be knowing those things and be doing 360 evaluations of not just evaluations on those that you have to do evaluations for, but asking them, evaluate me. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? How do you see me as a supervisor, leader, manager, coworker, friend, blah, blah, blah. So knowing yourself is a key to your success. Also, that said, thank you very much for the gift of your time. Hey, feel free to reach out, connect with me on social media. And until the next tip, we'll see you soon. Be safe and keep fighting the good fight.